Hello everybody. In this screencast we're gonna build our first Firebase application, and the application has a login screen, as you could see. So basically we'll use Firebase Authentication, and so the first screen is the fragment, which has the login fragment. You log in, you go to the posts fragment, and the posts, it shows you the posts, and then you can delete posts that you created, and you can create a post. So basically it shows you how to retrieve data, how to delete, and how to create data, right? All right. So let's go to Firebase. So I already have a project. I want to enable authentication, so I click on authentication. I set up a sign in method, and I'm going to use email sign in, and I'm going to enable email sign in. I'm going to click on save. So basically now I have email authentication set up. All right. Cool. So now I also want to integrate my app in here. So I go to project overview, add application, and this is an Android app. So I go back to my app. So this is the app, this is the starter app, right? Now if you look at the build Gradle, this is the namespace, this is the package name for your app, okay, or the app ID. Alright, this is the package name, this is your package name here. You give it a name if you want. This stuff is all optional, so click next. I just provided the name of the app, and then it's gonna create a file. I'm gonna download the file. All right, and then I need to add the file under app. So basically I need to go in here and change this into project, and then here's the folder I need to move things to. So now I need to go to where this file is. This is the file, you know, and I need to move the file from here to under app. Here we are. All right, so the file is here now. Okay, don't need this anymore. All right, click on next. Now you need to add some SDK stuff. Okay, good. You have to be paying attention to this very closely. So the first one is the project build. So basically let's go back to Android. Now there is a project, here it is, and in the project it's asking you to add, so this is the project Gradle, right? It's asking you to add this stuff. So basically I'm just gonna copy stuff from here to here, okay, and I'm gonna add it here. All right, here we are, and I'm gonna remove these stuff from here. Right now, let's say if I sync, it is not happy. It says that it must appear before the plugins, so I copy the plugin stuff from here and add this here. So basically all what I did is just copied the build script, try again, and it's building. Good. So now something is happening. That's good. So I didn't put this all project part. I don't think you need that. Scroll down a little bit. It's a Java project, and now you need to add some in the plugins. This is not under the project build Gradle. This is the app level. This is the app level one, and this is the project level one. So this is my app level one here. Okay. So I need to add, copy this one and add it here. Okay. Scroll down a little bit, and then I need to add, copy this one, Firebase. This is the Firebase bomb, and then there is the Firebase analytics. Okay, cool. So now I can sync, see if I'm able to run this app. Syncing the project is bringing in these libraries, integrating it into the application. Again, so there are two. This is how my build Gradle looks like, right? So this is the project level one. The project level one, you could see it looks like this. I just added the first part, and then this is my module level, which is the app level one. I just added the Firebase dependencies, and also at the top here I added the Google services, Google mobile services, right? All right, so I added all of that stuff, and then I can run it and see if it's gonna run on my phone. Okay. In order for it to run, you have to make sure that you have Google Play services when you. So when you click here, you see I have the emulator with Google Play, right? Okay. All right. So now let's see if it's gonna run. And then after that, we're gonna test the authentication. So while this is happening, I click on next, continue to console. So now the app is integrated. Now I'd like to go to documentation. So this is the documentation. There is the documentation. Okay. And let's see the login screen. Okay, so for me to test login, let me create let me build the registration screen first. So basically, let's have a look at the code of what is happening here. So now this is the login screen, and we have a login button, and then we have a cancel button, and the cancel button says go to create account, right? Okay, cool. So there is view create account, and then maybe void auth is successful. Success, let's say full, right? So this is when the authentication is successful, right? So basically, when you are done, we'll go there, and then when you click on go to create account, it goes to this side. Now let's go to the main activity, and now it's not happy because of the implementation. It's missing one of them. Here it is. Okay, auth is successful. Good. So now when the authentication is successful, we will go to another screen, right? And I added some code here so basically we need to go to get support fragment manager dot begin transaction dot replace with the new posts fragment. So there is a post fragment, just take me to the post fragment, right? So when the auth is successful. Okay, cool. So now when we run this, let's see what happens. So now what happens if I try to ask it to go create an account? I will create an account, right? So go in, create a new account. We're here, enter your name, email, password. Okay, cool. So now let's see, I want to build, let's say authentication. Here is authentication. Where do I start? I need to add the library. So basically I need to for Android and get started, right? And I need to add this library. So I'm going to copy this from here, go back to the Gradle file. I don't need the emulator for the time being. Go back to the Gradle file and add the authentication part, and then I will sync. All right. So now this is good. We did sync, and I'm gonna build the create account. Okay. So basically the sign up fragment. Here it is. Okay. And here we are. Now when you sign up, I need to. Now let's see what am I doing with signing up. So basically, when I'm signing up, I just need to have a name. Write my name, and I never have to list the users. I just have to show the name. Okay, cool. So now what I'm going to do is, let's see, how do you sign up? So manage users. Scroll down a little bit. Now get the user profile, get the user, update the user profile, verification, set the user password. We don't need all of that stuff. Let's see, password authentication. Here it is. Create password-based account. That's what I would like to do, right? So to create an account, here it is. You just you have an auth, which is this Firebase Auth. Okay, we are doing Java. It's a Firebase Auth, right? It's an auth instance, and then basically all you need to do is use that auth instance to create user with email and password. Okay, cool. So now let's do that. We are here. This is this is the sign up screen. You click the button, the user enter their name, their email, and their password. Okay, and we'll use so basically I need an mauth. Let me disable this completions. Okay, so I need Firebase, let's see, Firebase auth dot get instance. It returns back, so I will call it mauth. Okay, mauth equal to Firebase auth dot get instance. So now I could do it here, or I can even put it here. Here's the Firebase auth. Here it is, and then basically I can go here and say mauth dot create user with email and password. You see, here's the email, and then this is the password. Dot add on complete listener, right? And new. So basically on complete listener. Let's see, what is it? Listener on complete listener. Add on complete listener. New. On complete listener. So here it is, right? So basically, here's the on complete listener, and basically it returns a task. You should check to see if the task is successful. Task is successful. All right. Else it's not successful. You can tell the user that, by the way, this is not successful. So here we are. So we can do a toast here. Get activity, and we could get the error message by doing this. We could do task dot get exception dot get localized message. So basically we can give you exactly what happened, what went wrong. If everything is good, then we do mListener. We do auth is successful. So basically I already created in the login screen auth successful. All right. Similarly, I'm gonna copy it from here and paste it here, right? Paste it here also in the listener. So basically when I'm done signing up, the signing up is successful. Let's say here auth is successful. So that takes me to the auth is successful. And auth is successful, what it does, it goes, if you look at the main activity, what it does is auth successful takes you to the posts fragment. All right, so now let's try this. I didn't put the name, make use of the name. We'll make use of the name in a little bit. We just use the email and the password. All right, okay, so let's try. Create a new account. Let's say Bob here. And b at b.com and test. Let's just do test, submit. It's not happy. The given password is invalid. The password should be at least 6 characters. Okay, good. So TEST 1 2 3 and submit, and boom, it's done, and I'm able to get in. All right, so I'm able to get in. Now what if I would like to log out because I want to try things out? So now if you go back to the app here, if you go back to Firebase, if you click on authentication, you see that there is a user that just got created, b at b.com, right? Okay, good. So now we're done with this authentication part, at least the sign up, but we need to, as I mentioned, I need to create an email for that user, right? So basically, sorry, not an email. They already come, you provide the email as the username, but they provided the name, right? Their visible name, right? So in order to do that, you click on manage users here in the documentation. There's a way to create a user profile. So I want to update the user profile. So basically the user profile is a default user object that you could update the user profile. So basically it shows you here. You can, so basically when I have successfully signed up, right? So what I could do when I successfully signed up, I'm not going to do this like this. I'm going to go here, and if I look at the code here, I need the user, right? So basically I need to get the current user, so I can get the current user this way. Here's the current user, copy and paste. This is the current user. So once the user is successfully signed up, you can ask Firebase Auth to get you the current user. So this is the current user, right? And then you can create a profile. I'm just copying the code, here it is. Import the class, and then basically I don't need the user URI, I just need the username. So basically if you look here, there is a name, they provided a name. You go here and write the name. Here it is. So you build the request, and then you do the same thing. You do update user.update profile. So I can do that user. Okay, user.update profile with the profile updates, and then dot add on complete listener, new on complete listener. You see here that you're able to get a task also here. Same story, and these are all synchronous calls. So basically you need to check to see if task is successful, and then else it's not successful. So basically straightforward. I can just copy this code from here also and put it here, and if the task is successful, I'll do mListener dot auth is successful, right? So you could see that all what I did is I changed the user profile now, and when I create a new user, the user will have a name, right? The name that they entered is the name that we are going to provide here. All right. So now let me also, if I run this app again, it will take me to the sign up. It will take me to the login screen again, right? Here it is. I create a new account. Let's say I create an account, Alice Smith a at a.com, and then test 1 2 3 and submit. Take a little bit of time, but you could see I'm here now. You see, let's implement the logout, and let's implement the case where if you already logged in, I don't want you to ask me to log in again, right? So where do I do that? I have to do this code in the main activity, right? Here, how do I find out if the user is already logged in or no? Firebase Auth. If you do Firebase Auth dot get current user, get instance dot get current user, right? If this is not null, if this is null, if this is equal to null, right? This means that this user is not logged in, else the user is logged in. All right, so if it's equal to null, this means show me the login screen. Okay, and if it's not equal to null, then I will show the posts fragment. Okay, so now notice something. If it's equal to null, then it's going to show the login screen, right? So now when we run it, let's see what it is going to show. It's going to show the posts because signing up is logging in, right? You're already logged in. So let's implement logout. So basically, if we go back to the posts fragment, here's the posts fragment listener, and then there is a logout here that happens. To log out, all you have to do is Firebase Auth. Use Firebase again. Firebase Auth dot get instance dot sign out. This signs out the user, and then basically we're going to sign out and then replace the current screen with the login screen, right? So now let's see if it's wired up in the post fragment. Do you have the login wired up? So in the post fragment, we don't need all of this stuff, right? Because we're not passing it any data. We're gonna come back here to do the query, but all of this stuff is bye-bye. We don't need all of this. Now the logout, we called the logout. Okay, so let's see now. Here we are. I click on logout, takes you out. Okay, now it's not replacing for some reason. I need to figure out why it's not replacing, but we'll figure out that. Now let's go back to the main activity, the container view. Replace the login. This one needs to be login, so this one needs to be replace. Okay, and then similarly logout is to replace. Okay, so that's only the add is at the beginning. There is nothing on the screen. We're gonna add either this one or this one. If you want to go to the auth successful, we replace. If create account, we replace, and then the logout is replaced. So run it again. Let's see. So we're here. We logged out. So here we are. Now we can try to log in as a@a.com. Test 1 2 3, and I log in. And we never implemented the login part, so let's go implement the login code. So now we go back to the login fragment. Here we are, and when you log in, straightforward. So here we are. We do Firebase Auth dot get instance dot sign in with email and password. This is the email, password, and then you do the same thing. Add on complete listener, new on complete listener. And then basically we just check to see if the task is successful. Same story. If task is successful, right? Here it is. Else we do something else. So if it's not, we're going to do toast get activity, and then here we're going to use the task dot get exception dot get localized message. Here we are. Or you can get message if you want. So here we do mlistener dot auth is successful. All right. So we run this. Here we are. Now let's enter this a@a.com. Test 1 2 3. Login, and here we are. What should display here is the name of the person. I think this is welcome Bob Smith. Okay, so now how do we get the profile? It's very easy. So these default profile objects, the user object, because we added it in the profile. You see here we added it in the profile, right? We added a profile request here when we created them. So now in the post fragment, we can go ahead. So this, we already have the adapter set up for you. Everything is set up. You just have to write the code. Okay, here we can get the user who is currently logged in. So basically we can do this. Firebase Auth auth equal Firebase Auth dot get instance. Okay, so that's the Firebase Auth. We have the auth here. So basically, in order to get the current user, is very straightforward. So we can get Firebase user. If you use auth dot get current user, it's a Firebase user, right? So basically, Firebase. So this is the current user, right? So basically, the name of the current user is this. You see, I'll show you. Let's do a Control X here. Binding dot text view title dot text set text Firebase Auth dot get display name, right? So basically that's basically what we're going to do. And they want you to say welcome Bob Smith. So basically I'm just gonna write welcome here. All right, so now run this. And here we are, welcome Alice Smith. All right, good. So I have the welcome thing done. We're done with this screen, and this screen, right? Now the posts, straightforward, we need to get the posts. So now in order to get the posts, you need to use Firestore. So we are done with the authentication side of the world here. We need Firestore, Cloud Firestore, and get started. Same story. So now when you're getting started, I need to add Firestore to my library, Firestore library. I go back to the project. Here's the build Gradle. I don't need the emulator for the time being. And here we are. Okay, so that's Firestore. Sync now, go from there. Now, so in order to be able to receive this data, I need to think about the data that's being created here has whatever the user typed as a post, who created the post, the date when they created the post, and a trash can. The trash can is to signify the ID of, if the user ID of whoever created the post is the same user ID as the user who is logged in, then we need to figure out to display the trash can or not to display the trash can. So let's see. So now let's look at the models that they have here. You have a post, and I have created a post for you. So basically created by, post ID, created by user ID, the post text, and when was it created. Good, okay. All right, so I have all this data here. And it's assuming everything is a string, so I can make it dates if I want to. So let's see if they want it to be. Let's investigate each part separately, right? So basically, let's create a post. So now, in order to create a post, let's go to create a post. Here's the create post fragment. We're not gonna send it anything, right? The post fragment doesn't receive any data. Let's create a post just so that we could show you that we're able to create a post, so that we can query it, right? Okay, cool. So here it is. This is stuff like this, and all of that stuff I don't need. Okay, and on view created. This is the cancel button. Everything is wired up so that at least things can work. So basically, we are here. That's creating a post. Now, when you click the submit button, we just want to submit the post. So now this is where we create a post. Okay, good. So now what we're going to do is, if you go to Firebase, we go to Firestore database, right? And it might be that you don't have it, right? So what I'm going to do is, let's say I'm going to delete these collections. Okay, so I deleted the collections. Now let's start a collection, and I'm going to call it, for example, posts, right? These are posts, right? Here's a collection called posts. Now the post will have an ID, right? So this is a collection. Inside it there are documents, and then basically I already have stuff that I'm going to create. So basically, who created it? So they created by name, so that's the name of the person who created it. Let's say this is going to be Bob, right? Bob Smith. And another field, post ID. So the post ID is going to match this one. Okay, so this is the post ID. Here's the post ID. Add another field, created by user ID, and we'll figure out that in a little bit. So this is created by user ID. Post text. So I'm going to say hello world. So this is post text here. Hello, and I'm going to save. So basically, what it does is that it creates a collection. The collection has documents inside it. So each document is like has attributes, and then documents can have sub collections if you need to, right? So now, created by user ID. If I go to authentication, I need, for example, let's say we copy this was Bob Smith, right? So we go back to Firebase. I'm gonna delete this guy because this guy has no name. So let's make it Alice that created it. Copy that, Firebase Firestore, and I can edit this to make this here. Okay, cool. So now I can find created by and UID. So now, how do I parse this data? So let's say I would like to get the data, right? Just for the sake of testing here. So now what I could do in order to get the data, this data has a path. You see here, it has some kind of a path, the collection, and then under that collection, I need to retrieve the data. Okay. So now if you look here, reading data, get data, right? So basically, if you can get the data once if you want, right? So this means that you can get the data once by just receiving the data, and in order to get the data, you need one to create a Firebase database instance. So this one is the database instance, right? This signifies the database. This represents the whole database, and then under the database there is a collection. Our collection is called posts, right? Posts. Now you want to get the data, you go here, you do dot get, and then this creates a task. You see here when you do that, get, and then dot add on complete listener, new on complete listener. So basically you could do something like that. That gets you the data once, right? So basically this one will get you the data. So every time the app starts, you're gonna call this, it gets you the data, right? And you could see here that it returns a task. Right, so basically you scroll down a little bit, getting a document. This gets one document, or you get collections, so custom objects, get multiple documents from a collection. That's what we did here. DB collection, you can have also where clauses and so on, get, add on complete listener, and then this shows you how to get the data. So now let me copy this from here. Okay, here's that. So basically it returns a task. You see here the task has a query snapshot, and we can do the same thing. We can copy this from here and paste it here. So basically, if the task is successful, we can go and import. So basically this loops over the result, right? And then this one gets you the data, and basically see task dot get it returns a document. Now the magic is this. Now let's say I want to change this document into an object, like a Java object, right? The magic is, let's say we do this demo, okay? Now the magic is this. What you could do is you could say the post equal the document dot to object, and you tell it post dot class, right? So basically it's going, this is very similar to the JSON library. If the names are exactly the same, it's going to a, let's go back to the post thing here, and you have the toString to show you what it's showing here. So what I'm going to do is all I'm going to do is log the, just print it, okay? Print the post. You see I didn't do any parsing, anything. I just used the same name, parameter names, you know, the attribute names here in the post. These names are exactly what we used when we created the post, right? Yeah. So now let's see when we run this if it's gonna work, right? So basically we're getting them. Here it is. Okay. So we'll see in a little bit. Here we are. Go here, and you can see that I'm able to print the post. See, I have who created it, what's the post ID, the name of the person, hello is the message, created at. We have to think about created at in a little bit, but to make things a little bit easy, what I could do is, what if I want the created at, let's say this one, let's say created at, that's the value of created at here, and I want it to be created at, and let's say I want it to be a time, not a string. I want it to be a timestamp, and let's say today, and add. So basically that's here. Now let's see if I run it now what happens. Even though I defined it as a string, will it work? Let's see. Okay, it crashed because now you're trying to cast, unable to convert timestamp to a string. Look at, because you see here it is a timestamp. You see if you look at created at, we created it at as a timestamp. You see it's a timestamp variable. Cool. So now let's change that. It's fine. You know, we can change things. So let's create it at. Okay. Scroll down, and I will remove the toString, and here it is. Created out is out. Good. So you have all these getters. I'll do getters and setters also. I'll do that. Cool. So now let's do this, and created at is going to be a timestamp. So let's do this. Okay, public timestamp, and I will use the Firebase one, and I will call it created at. Okay, cool. So here it is. Now let's get the getters and setters. Oops. Options and getters and setters for all of them, and here we are. Cool. So now let's also create a toString. Okay, toString with all of them. Okay, good. Now for the toString created at, I will say dot Let's say a toString, what it's gonna print, I don't know. Let's see. Let's run this. Now set get created add. So I'll comment out this because I already have the adapter set up and so on. So if we run this, let's see. Okay, good. So now if you look here, we're able to get created at also. See, created at is a timestamp. We want to change it into a date and time and so on. We'll do that. It's straightforward also, not an issue at all. Okay. Do I have this guy open? Let's see. Enable completions. I'll use it in a little bit. But what I need to do now is this. I already have a way of getting these you see here, I already have a way of getting these posts. Now what I could do here is I have mposts which is tied up to the adapter, so I do mposts.clear. We did this several times before. mposts.add the post to this, and then when we are done, we just notify the data, notify that the data has changed. So we could do adapter notify the data has changed, right? So now if we run this, we might be getting some data. So let's see. Here is the post that we just created, and it shows a trash can. So basically, let's see about the trash can in a little bit, but you could see that it was created by Bob Smith. This is the text, and so on, right? Cool. So we're able to get some data here. Now, for me to display the created ad is also straightforward. So what I'm going to do is, this gets it only once, right? So now scroll down a little bit. To display the created ad, if I go back into the adapter here, now I need simple date format, equal new simple date format of this kind, for example, and then I can do something like this, right? So basically, simple date format get created at dot to date, and then let's see what happens. So basically what I did is I created a simple date format which has this kind of format. Let's see what format do they want. They want also the date and time. So we can go here, and this will give you also the, I think also if we go like this will give you AM and PM. So basically you can get AM and PM, time in seconds. I don't know if we need the time in seconds, so we can remove the seconds part here, and it will get you the month, day, and year. And then basically that's the formatter, and then the timestamp gives you a timestamp, and from the timestamp you can get a date, and then you can use the simple date formatter to format the date. So if we run this, you will see that it will show, here it is, you see it shows that. Good. So now that's something, it's done, right? So we're good here, right? Now let's see how to create. So we're able to get the posts, we're able to display them. Now let's see how do we create a post. So let's go back here, create a post. All right, so basically what we need to do is we also need, in the submit, we need the same thing. We need an instance of the database. So we go back here. When we did that in get the posts, where is that here? Getting the posts is here, right? So we need this one. Okay, cool. So we are here. This is just the instance of the database. Yes, we can also do get the instance of the user who is logged in also. Scroll down a little bit. This is the instance, the auth instance. Okay, and I just pasted the auth instance here. So I have the instance of, we can also have, so this is the instance of the database. Now I can get the user. So basically, I will see why we will need the user. But in order to store data, right, you have to tell it where to store it. So basically I wanted to store under posts. So basically you create something called a document reference, a reference to the document where you want to store it, right? So basically you see db dot collection, you see here, db dot collection, and it's called posts, right? Dot document. You see here it creates something called a document reference. If you know the document ID, you can specify it, or you can just use document. This gives you a document reference. So basically this is a document reference. Let's say doc ref equal this. So this creates a unique document reference, by the way, right? Okay. Now, as it creates this unique document reference, let me disable completions. Now, what I would like to do is to create a map, a hash map to store my data, hash map, and it's a string and then object, object, right? And this is called my data, right? Equal new hash map, right? And basically what I'm going to do is when you create the posts, I need what you entered, and I need also to provide the other data, all this data that is here. I need to provide it also. So I'll copy that. I need to provide other data, right? So basically I need when was it created, created by whom, and all of that stuff. So how will we do that? Let's see. So data dot put and key and value, right? So basically there is a post text. This is the post, right? So the post text we used post text. Here it is. That's the post text. Cool. So that's the first part, whatever you typed. Okay. Then similarly, data dot put. I need to add some other things, right? Let me just add some of these so that we could use them as references here. Okay, here we are. So I need to figure out who created it. So created by name. This is the name of the person who created it. Created by user ID. I need the user ID of whoever created it. I need the post ID, right? How I'm gonna do that. So the post ID is the ID of the document. You see this and this I wanted to match. So let's see how we're going to do that. So to get the post ID, let's get the user ID. So the user ID, I can use mauth.getCurrentUser.getDisplayName. That's the name of the person who created the post. mauth.getCurrentUser.getUID. That's the ID of the user who created the post. The post ID, the problem is that the post ID is inside this document reference. So basically what I could do is I already have a document reference .get ID. That's the ID. Now created at is a little bit tricky. So basically created at, I can send it an instance, but if I send it an instance, the problem is that it's going to be the time on the client, the time on the phone right now, right? And I'm gonna dump it here. And I want it to be the time on the server, because people can manipulate this time, right? And the people are in different time zones and all of that stuff. So basically in order to do that, you do something called field value dot server timestamp. So you can tell it, I don't know what the time is, just server used your timestamp. Cool. You can tell the server to use its own timestamp. So now how to store it, I'll do like this. Document reference. I have the document reference dot set, and I pass it the data dot add on complete listener new on complete listener. Same story. So basically that's how you store data. Cool. That's how we store data. Now we do the same thing. If the task is successful, right? And else we can do a toast here, whatever we can do. But then basically here we do mlistener dot go back to posts. Cool. So now when we run this, let's see what happens if we are able to create a post, right? So let's delete the post that we have here. So basically what I could do is I could go here, delete the collection and the posts. So that's going to delete everything. All right, here we are. Now when you run the app, okay, you see it didn't refresh, right? Because we are getting posts using this approach. We're getting posts by just using get. We didn't register any listeners or anything, right? So just whatever it has. So now anyway, create a post. I'll say, hello, this is the first post, okay? And I click on submit. And you can see here, hello, this is the first post from Alice Smith. This is the time. We'll figure out how to use the trash can, but let's have a look at how my database looks on the server. So I look here, posts. This is the ID of the post. You see the IDs match because I created that document reference, and now the document reference is the one that's being used to create this ID. This is the whoever created it, the ID of whoever created it, the name of the person, and you could see here that this is the time on the server, and hello, this is the first post. Cool. So I'm able to create these. Let me log out, create a new account, and this is gonna be Bob Smith. All right, Smith b@b.com, test 1 2 3, and I click on submit. And here we are, Bob Smith, and welcome Bob Smith, but it's showing you the trash can. Let's fix this trash can situation here. So what we could do is we go to the posts, and basically what I'm going to do is in the view holder, when we're creating the trash can, in order to show or not to show the delete image, right? So basically I could go here, right? From the post itself, I can figure out if the user, the currently logged in user, is the user that. So I can get this by saying if mauth.getCurrentUser, get current user dot get UID equals the post dot get created by user ID, then this means that the currently logged in user is the person who created the post, and in that case I'm gonna set up the handler, right? And in addition also I'm going to make this delete image visible, right? Set visibility to visible, right? Here it is. Otherwise I'm just going to set visibility to invisible, right? Invisible, right? So now when we run this, you will see that now I'm able to figure out if I am the person who if you own the post, you will get the trash can. If you don't own the post, you will not get a trash can. So this is Bob. Now if you try to log in as Alice, a@a.com, test 1 2 3, and I log in, and you see I can see the trash can. Now to handle the trash can is also very straightforward. In order to delete a post, you need to know, you need to tell it what is the path. What path will it take, right? So in order to do that, because I'm using this approach to get the posts, right? I'm not using a listener. So now I need to create a method. I'll call it void get posts, right? So this is just using this approach that we have here. I'm gonna cut this from here and I'm pasting it here, and I'm just gonna call get posts. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the following. I'm going to delete the posts, then refresh by getting the posts, right? So delete the posts and then refresh by doing that. So now in order to do this, I need a database reference. So basically I need a database reference because I need to tell it exactly where I would like to delete. So I need the database reference. Here it is. This is the database reference, and then I need db dot collection. It's called posts, right? The collection is called posts. And then the document, what is the ID of the document? The ID of the document is post or m post here dot get post ID, right? Dot delete dot set dot add on complete listener new on complete listener. And now when it comes back, I can check to see if it's valid or no, but here I'm just going to do get posts. That refreshes the posts. Okay. So now I can delete. This is how you delete, and then when it's done, I just get the posts. And I'll run this again. Here we are. Here it is. I click on delete. It deletes it, and you could see it deleted from here. Plus, here we are. Okay, so now we click here. Let's do a hello. Submit. Here it is. Log out. Bob b@b.com. Test 1 2 3, and logging in. Here we are. Create a post. This is Bob's hello, right? Here's Bob's hello. It has a delete. Click on delete and it refreshes. So that's one way of doing things, right? So that's one way of doing things. The other way of doing things is instead of using getting posts once, you can use the a listener. You can register a listener, but if you register a listener, you have to be a little bit careful not to continuously register that listener beyond the lifetime of the app, because every time the app comes in, it will re-instantiate that listener. So let's see how we can do this, right? So here we are here. So now getting real-time updates, that's what I'm looking at. Okay, so now getting real-time updates, same story. You do that, and then but instead of get, you do add snapshot listener. All right. So now how do I do this? So I'm gonna keep this is get posts. So basically, I'm gonna leave this. This is one-time data retrieval. Okay. But then if you don't want to do one-time data retrieval, we'll do it like this. We'll copy this code from here. And I'm going to copy this from here. Here we are. Dot add snapshot listener new. And here we are. So basically, this is whenever the data changes. If the data changes at all, you're going to get an event. So basically, if you look here, add a snapshot listener, you're going to get back an event. I don't know why it's giving us two, and it's giving you an error, and you need to check to see if the error is successful or no. So you can do something like that. So, and okay, here we are, something like this. this is the error, right? So basically if the error is equal to null, and we're going to just demo, and here it is, listening failed. Now if it's a little bit different, it's not a task, you're getting an error, right? And then there is a query snapshot. You see here, the query snapshot is what we were getting here also. You see here, there is a query snapshot, right? And we can just copy this code from here to here. Okay, Control C and paste it here. So basically post clear, and instead of get results, you already get a query snapshot as the value. Here it is, and we're good to go. So basically the code is exactly the same, you know, but now this snapshot listener, you see, add snapshot listener returns, so db.collection of posts dot add snapshot. It returns add document. Okay, document. Dot add snapshot listener. It returns a listener registration. All right. So basically that's a listener registration. So basically I need to figure out if you have started listening or no, because every time onView created gets called when the app comes back from the backstack. So basically I have a listener registration. I'll call it, for example, listener registration, right? Here it is, okay. And then basically the listener registration is what this returns, right? Equal to this. This is the listener registration. And basically when this app goes to sleep, right, on let's say on destroy, right, on destroy, right, meaning on destroy view or on destroy, what I'm going to do is that I need to unregister it. So how do I do that? Remove. So basically if register registration, if listener registration is not equal to null, right, then I'm going to remove it. Okay, you just have to keep that in mind, because if you keep on registering listeners, when you come back you register a new one. So I have to make sure that the one I have right now, I remove it, all right, because every time I come in, the assumption is that this on destroy is going to get called when you go on the backstack. And let's check to see that. So here it is, and do a demo here. Okay, let's run it and see. I'll show you. We'll run this. I'm not going to delete anything, because the delete also needs to change, but you see we're getting the data, right? And now if I go to the create post, you could see, let's go to the logcat and see if that method got called. You see here, and this is demo, and created UID blah blah blah, on destroy or on view destroyed, on destroy view, right? So what I'm looking for is the what happens when you put something on the backstack. So I need to figure out which method gets called in the lifecycle. When you see, when I go create, so destroy view gets called, but destroy doesn't get called. So I could just remove this. I can check to see other ones, on and on detach. Maybe we can also look at on detach. You know, on detach is when you're leaving the, you can do that also here. Do this, copy that, copy this. And in order to know this in more detail, you can look at the life cycle of the fragment. Here it is. You see when I create post, on destroy view. So good. So I'm going to go with on destroy view. So I'm going to go with on destroy view. If you destroy the view, putting it on the backstack, I'm going to unregister. Okay. So let's run this again. Now, what is going to happen now is, you see, here it is. And now we also need to change the delete. So how to do the delete? Let's see, all the way up here. When we are doing the delete, we are deleting and then we're calling this, right? We don't need to call it anymore. Okay. To show the snapshot listener, right? So basically you don't need to delete anything, because once you delete something, the app already knows that the app already knows that the deletion has happened, because this will trigger the listener, the snapshot listener. So the snapshot listener is going to get triggered upon deletion. So let's see, create a post. Let's run this again, right? I'm going to create a post, right? So this user is going to create a post. Let's say create a post. Let's say hi, right? Submit. Okay, cool. And you could see it's showing up here. Now, notice something. When I click on delete, you see my delete does not have, if you look at the delete, it does not have a refresh. You see here, I removed get posts, right? So now when I click on delete, it deletes. And you can see this is being refreshed. Why? It's because of the snapshot listener. Okay, the snapshot listener is when the data changes. Like for example, if I go to the app, to this screen, for example, and open up the database here, and I click here, and let's say I change it from hello, I type another hello, right? Notice what's going to do, it updates automatically because of the snapshot listener. So the snapshot listener is being notified that this data has changed. I could go here and change also, add some edges here, and you could see here it's being changed. And also if I delete it, so if I go here and delete the document, it also gets notified. All right. So I have shown you how to create data, how to retrieve data, and how to log in and how to sign up. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.